Good day and Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Ifrad Rana speaking from News 24. So today, our burning topic is about biodiversity. The term biodiversity refers to a variety of life on Earth to all its levels, from genes to ecosystems, and can encompass the evolutionary, ecological, and cultural processes that sustain life. As we all know, biodiversity has been one of the most burning issues which is getting people's concern, as because of the loss of biodiversity, the world is falling off a cliff or becoming more unsustainable. To prevent these actions, a small group of students from AKSD stand by to conserve biodiversity and make the world a safer place to live. They are the group Alliance for Sustainability. So let's hear them from the honorable guests who made this group to conserve biodiversity.
I chose to conserve biodiversity as I need to spread awareness to the people about biodiversity loss so people can know more about it and take actions.
When I went through 3 SDGs, which are 13, 14 and 15, I realized that we need to take some action on SDG 13 as we need to take action towards climate change. 14, marine life, as water pollution is taking place. 15, we chose 15, life on land, as slowly animals are getting extinct. This is a burning issue as loss of biodiversity is breaking the boundaries.
The loss of biodiversity is a major and vast issue around the world. We humans are contributing to the destruction of biodiversity, which is ultimately destroying our planet. And I think we need to stop this and conserve biodiversity to save our planet and ourselves.
Hello everyone, my name is Fatim. Pollution is everywhere, and as a responsible citizen, it's necessary for me to spread awareness and about its consequences and importance.
I have chosen the topic biodiversity as it helps us and gives us oxygen as well. And without it, we wouldn't be able to survive, but humans are still destroying it.
I think people have many wrong ideas when we say preserve biodiversity, such as saving it for its beauty. But actually, we must save the aquaculture, forestry, animals, as well as land for its importance and work on this world.
I think biodiversity is a word that represents all the different living species on Earth. Biodiversity is a really important factor to the Earth's well-being, and we humans are vastly contributing to its extinction.
I chose this topic because it is important for us. Without biodiversity, the world could get destroyed.
You must have guessed our topic by now, right? Well, if you haven't, our topic is biodiversity.
Abhyana, why does our unit matrix have 2 different scenes?
Yes, you may have many questions like this. Well, me and my group have decided that one side is conservation of biodiversity and another is biodiversity getting destroyed.
Since our topic is biodiversity, the theme we have chosen is sharing the planet.
Every unit requires a central idea, right? Yes, of course it does. And actually, we have made one as well, which is conservation of biodiversity leads to sustainable living for all.
The lines of inquiry me and my group have constructed are biodiversity and its importance, impacts of biodiversity lost, and last but not least, responsibilities for biodiversity conservation.
The concepts we have chosen are form, connection, causation, and responsibility.
Abhyana, you have forgotten the related concepts. Well, they are conservation and impact.
Throughout this exhibition process, we'll have the opportunities to exhibit the skills and profiles through the activities we have created.
Wow, this unit's gonna be so much.
Our adventure of the PYP exhibition starts off with the tuning in stage. We had the common session first. In the common session, we did quite a few activities. Firstly, in groups of 4, we brainstormed on what is the purpose of the PYP exhibition. After that, we reviewed all our themes and their descriptors. Then we identified what are problems and issues. And then as a group, we selected our topic, which was biodiversity, and connected our topic with the SDG 13, 14 and 15 and our theme, sharing the planet. And lastly, we prepared our unit matrix.
To demonstrate our prior knowledge, we did a Padlet activity. Here we answered a few questions, we explained and analyzed a few pictures. We also watched a few documentaries which includes Breaking Boundaries and some other videos. Our next task was to connect our prior knowledge and reflect on it.
Well, friends, I hope you have gotten a brief introduction on our tuning in by now.
And let's catch up on all the activities we completed in our finding out and sorting out unit so far. Our friend Shashwato has prepared a presentation to explain the first
Accordingly, we
LOI.
have started off by preparing our concept-based questions on our 7 focused concepts. Abiana, would you care to explain why it's important to our audience?
Of course, concept-based questions are important because they help us particularize the factors we want to learn about and focus on in the current unit. It helps to make our inquiry deeper. Individually, we have prepared some concept-based questions, and later on, we have shared them with our group. And as a group, we have chosen some common concept-based questions.
Let us show you how we prepared our research on our first line of inquiry.
The first LOI that we have chosen for our unit is biodiversity and its importance.
We have done our research work divided into groups of 3 and then presented our work to 3 different projects, which are show, chart presentation, and lastly model.
Through the research, we have learned about the 3 different types of diversity and the importance of it.
The 3 different types of diversity are species, ecosystem, and genetic diversity.
Species diversity is one of the types which focuses on the sum up of all the different species present in a certain environment. Secondly, ecosystem diversity. This diversity is one of the types that focuses on the different ecosystems within a certain geographical location.
And last but not least, genetic diversity. Genetic diversity is a word representing the different characteristics and genetics in a species.
Finally, the other subgroups have assessed the presenting group with criteria of informing us about the different types of biodiversity and their importance. We also justified our rationale on why we chose to assess them based on these criteria. As a group, we have also assessed ourselves based on our featured profiles: knowledgeable, communicator, and the skills, thinking, research, and communication.
We have reflected and analyzed where we need to work on to improve our skills and profiles. Let's see some clips of our presentation. This talk show was presented by our friends Ifrad, Irad, and Abdullah. The model was made by me, Gungun, and Abiana. And lastly, the chart presentation was presented by our dearest friends Fatin, Shashuto, and Inaya. Now, friends, let's see some glimpses of the videos of our presentations.
It includes the humans, the animals, the trees, organisms, and etc. It also includes the ecosystem, which is one of the key points of our survival of the world.
For genetic biodiversity, it is about the different genes and genetics found inside nature and how they evolve and adapt to the surrounding nature. We can see this.
And think about yourself. Don't you eat some sort of food a day? But you lack that nutrition in your body if bees go extinct. And so if one species is gone, a whole entire cycle is stopped. Crabs and lobsters. And these are some plants that we have.
Biodiversity. As of my research, the word biodiversity refers to all the different types and varieties of species and
Biodiversity is essential for the sustainable development and our life. It reduces climate change and creates medicine, which is important to cure illness and other diseases for us humans and other.
Know the importance. Well, there are 3 types of biodiversity.
Ira, now as we've seen the presentation, we have started the second line of inquiry.
Yes, I'm very excited for it. But do you know what it is?
Yes, I do know what it is. Second line of inquiry is on the causes as well as impacts on biodiversity loss.
Oh yes, I remember. We had a research on it. There was 3 types of biodiversity and we had to write the causes and impacts of the loss of biodiversity.
Yes, I remember some of the main causes. Some of the main causes were exploitation, hunting, money, and lastly, pollution.
Surely, the causes had some impacts on our environment. They were extinction of animals, overexploitation, food scarcity, deforestation, wildfire, habitat loss, nutrient deficiency, and many other diseases. These are the impacts of the causes of the loss of biodiversity.
We have shared these research and information through solo IT presentations. We have used Canva as well as Google Slides to represent the information. So now, let's see the presentation glimpse.
So today we are here at Hattirjil for a field trip.
Before we came here, we have researched on its past to compare and to know more about it.
So according to our research, legend has it that the elephants of Dhaka's Pikana used to take baths in these wetlands. And that time, this place was like a forest and there were a lot of biodiversity around it.
But after elephants started to reduce, people started to take over. And now there are many restaurants and many other bridges, etc. This is also reducing biodiversity because there's a lot of pollution around.
But still, people are trying to save biodiversity here by planting trees and putting signboards around to not pollute.
So hello and welcome to our Shahabuddin Park. As you can see, we are standing behind the most famous or one of the most famous places in Bangladesh, which is Shahabuddin Park in Gulshan. So today our topic is to talk about the after and before of Shahabuddin Park. So I will talk about the before of Shahabuddin Park before it was a park. So Shahabuddin was a beautiful landscape with trees surrounding its beautiful clean lake. As you can see, now it's a little bit polluted as now people are throwing trash in here. And then there were many species of animals which lived there, as now there's less trees as most of the trees were cut down because of the park's construction. So now my friend Irad will talk about what happened to the biodiversity of Shahabuddin Park now.
Yes, so what happened in the aftermath? Like you said, Shahabuddin was a beautiful landscape before it was a park. So here now we can see many trees which were the Shahabuddin was responsible. So he planted many more trees to make the biodiversity sustainable, and the habitat of the animals are coming back to the park as trees are planted and the lake is not polluted. So here we can see the trees. Many trees are here and the lake is not polluted.
And the animals are also coming back to their own natural habitat.
Our curious minds have finally made it to third line of inquiry. Here we have inquired about the roles and responsibilities for biodiversity conservation. We were instructed to be divided into groups of 3. Then choose our local and global organization as well as a social activist. And finally choose a linguistic form of presentation. The groups are Abdullah, Abina and Fatin are group members of Autobiography Group. Their organizations are World Wildlife Funds for Global Organization, Tazingdom for Local, and James Hessen for Social Activists. Rotary Group members are Ifrad, Zehna, and Areen. Our global organization is Ocean Conservancy. And Bangladesh Environment and Development Society for Local Organization. And our social activist is Leonardo DiCaprio. Puppetry group contains Shashwato, Inaya and Irad. Their organization they chose are Oceana, Aramkya, and youthful social activist Greta Thunberg.
And lastly, Alliance for Sustainability would appreciate if you acknowledge your own responsibilities.
Our guest speaker, Sabrina Elias, gave us some suggestions on saving biodiversity. We will be talking about our guest speaker. She is an assistant professor at Independent University of Bangladesh. She is a PhD holder. She is also a scientist on adaptation of rice plants according to climate change.
You may be wondering why this guest speaker had taken place. We wanted to widen our knowledge for the third LOI, which is Responsibility for Biodiversity Conservation. She had explained the responsibilities being taken locally for climate change against one of our main sources of food, rice.
Yes, she talked about how natural disasters are destroying the rice and how rice can grow in an environment they aren't suitable for, as they're immune to salt water.
She had actually mentioned how they're adapting because due to water levels increasing and the tides increasing, it is slowly coming way above shore and into the fields near the seaside.
She also told about how climate change is destroying the ecosystem by destroying its flow, with the deforestation that is happening and animals not being able to adapt to their environment, causing animal extinction.
The information she had shared was very helpful towards us, which were making bird feeders, walking with your animals, and lastly, leaving your bed in a safe place. We will take a deeper thought with the information we have gathered and maybe even apply it to our taking action.
Okay, students, I hope সবাই আমাকে শুনতে পাচ্ছে. Hope you can hear. And স্ক্রিনটা দেখা যাচ্ছে. তো এই যে ছবিটা আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি, ছবিটা আসলে একটা মানে সাদার্ন কোস্ট, বাংলাদেশের সাদার্ন কোস্ট থেকে নেওয়া। সাদার্ন কোস্টে ওখানে হয় কি অনেক লবণের অনেক বেশি থাকে। তোমরা জানো যে সল্ট ইরোশন অনেক বেশি। অবজার্ভ করবা, তোমাদের ভবিষ্যতে যারা সায়েন্টিস্ট হবা তারা এটাকে অবজার্ভ করবা যে আসলে কত ফ্রিকুয়েন্ট হচ্ছে। আচ্ছা, সো ক্লাইমেট চেঞ্জ যে হচ্ছে
just 1 minute.
তাই এটা খুব মানে কষ্টকর একটা ভিডিও। জাস্ট আমি প্লাস্টিক আসলে একটা মনস্টারের মতো, রাইট? তোমরা হয়তো বুঝতে পারছো কিছুটা হলেও। মিরপুরে এরকম একটা জায়গা আছে যেখানে ডাম্প করা হয় সব। দেখো, এটা একটা স্ট্র এর জন্য এই স্নেকটা অ্যাকচুয়ালি ওর নাকের ভিতরে ঢুকে গেছে এবং আলটিমেটলি ও কিন্তু আসলে মারা গেছে এটার জন্য।
Going further stage, this gives us the opportunity for an extended inquiry on the issues we have chosen. Some of us did the inquiry individually, in pairs, and small groups. The topic that all of us covered through extended research are case study on the habitat loss of animals, ecological succession, case study on biodiversity loss in Nila Market, evolution of species, and lastly, invasive alien species. The sharing session of our understanding helped us to gain knowledge, as well as because of all these are new information for us.
So you might want to know how we researched on these topics and what we got to know. Firstly, our friends Irad and Ifrad have done a case study on habitat loss. They went to the zoo and saw how people are trying to restore animal habitats in the zoo and got to know about its positive and negative impacts. Next, Abiana, Zehna and Areen went to Nila Market and observed the biodiversity loss there.
ভালো হয় না আবার এখানে ময়লা টলা ইটি অনেক অনেক কিছু
নদী পাড়ের মানুষদের তো এমনি কষ্ট সারা জীবন শুনে আসছে তারপরে রাস্তা
আবার মেঘ তুফান আসতে পারে আরো সমস্যা আনবে এমনই কষ্ট করে থাকি কি করার কিছু করার নেই চলতেছে
আপনারা থাকেন এই যে কাজ চলতেছে রাস্তার কাজ এটার জন্য তো অনেক ক্ষতি হচ্ছে আপনাদের হ্যাঁ আপনারা এখানে দোকানপাট করে মনে সংসার চালান তো তাতে আপনাদের কি ক্ষতি হচ্ছে আপনারা মানে আপনাদের অবস্থা কিরকম খারাপ হয়ে গেছে কিভাবে
Me and my friend Abdullah did a further research on ecological succession and got to know what it is and its impacts. And lastly, our friends Inaya and Fatin both did individual research. Their topics were invasive alien species and the evolution of species.
Integrated task, we have done two things. One, line graph, and another pie chart. For the pie chart, we have created a survey in Google Forms and sent them to the people we know. And after we got the responses, we created them into a pie chart. And before that, the responsibilities we gave were planting trees, supporting faunas, spreading awareness, and not supporting pollution. We created the pie chart by giving the responses into angles and then creating it. And after that, we did a data analysis on it.
This is the line graph I had made. The topic I'd chosen was amount of carbon emissions over the past years. Of course, carbon emission is increasing day by day. But here we can see the chart starts from 1870. It was under 1 billion metric tons. But here in 2000 we can see it's slowly skyrocketing. But why is it skyrocketing? Ever since the Industrial Revolution had started, the amount of carbon emissions in billion metric tons had increased slowly by 100% or 200% more. But here we can see from 1970 to 1990 to 2010, there's more than 1,000% increase. So slowly we have to take action.
The line graph I made was about the area of forest taken down in the Amazon. In 2008, it was very high, which was 1,400 kilometers, but slowly it has decreased. And in 2015, it was only 100 kilometers, but slowly it has increased. And today, it's more than 600. The main reason for this is deforestation, because different people are cutting down trees for different purposes like construction, fueling, etc. And we need to take action for this because Amazon is a very big forest and it provides a lot of oxygen.
This is my line graph on average global temperature rise. We can see that from 1860 to 1960, the temperature was pretty normal and livable. But the rise had happened from 1980 to 2000 to all the way to 2020. And we can predict that by 2022, which is right now, the temperature has risen a lot. This is happening because of human activities like pollution and us using too much of the air conditioner or things such as that.
My line graph is on the plastic in the ocean every 2 years. As you can see here, from 2017 to 2021, there has been a big difference in trash. This is mainly because of the COVID-19 pandemic, as people are too scared to leave their houses, and because during that time most evolution happened, and which also meant more trash everywhere, including the ocean.
I have chosen the topic deforestation and Amazon forest. As you can see, the graph is showing the increase of deforestation in Amazon forest. The reason it's happening is because of climate change and human activities. So the way we can stop it is by planting more trees and raising awareness by creating posters.
I have made this based on whale population. They were increasing since 2019-90,
1990 to 2010, but after 2010 to 2015, they have been decreasing because of water pollution and more, causing their death and causing people to be desperate for them.
I did a line graph on rhino poaching increases. As you can see, in 2007, the units of rhino poaching increases were 13, but in 2014, it increased up to 1,014 units. The rhino poaching is increasing because to meet the high demand of their horns in Asian countries.
So here, my topic is extinction of species. So in the early ages, which is 1650, we can see the extinction of species is up to 3 only. But now, in the 1950s, there's a big drastic change, which is 38 species each year are getting extinct. So why are they getting extinct? Let me say. In 1950, the industries are increasing a lot. The pollution is increasing and people are not aware what they're doing, or they're not cautious at all. So the species are dying slowly and slowly. Thank you.
তোমালো পত্রিকা থেকে আমরা দুইটি তথ্য প্রতিবেদন করেছি। একটি হচ্ছে সুন্দরবনের শিল্প কারখানার প্রভাব নিয়ে, আর একটি হচ্ছে রোহিঙ্গা অনুপ্রবেশের জন্য কক্সবাজারে কিভাবে জীববৈচিত্র্য ধ্বংস করছে। তারপর আমরা সিদ্ধান্ত নিয়েছি যে কোনো একটি তথ্য প্রতিবেদন করে আমরা এটার ব্যাপারে বাংলায় একটি পোস্টার বানাবো। আমার বিষয় হচ্ছে রোহিঙ্গা অনুপ্রবেশের জন্য কক্সবাজারের জীববৈচিত্র্য হুমকির মুখে। বিভিন্ন সংস্থাগুলো এবং সরকার চেষ্টা করছে সেখানে জীববৈচিত্র্য কিভাবে রক্ষা করা যায়, এবং তারা উল্লেখ করেছেন যে রোহিঙ্গাদেরকে যদি অন্য জায়গায় সরানো হয় তাহলে আমরা জীববৈচিত্র্য রক্ষা করতে পারবো।
আমরা সবাই জানি বাংলাদেশে কয়েক বছর আগে রোহিঙ্গারা এসেছিল। ওরা আসার পরে তাদেরকে কক্সবাজারে পাঠানো হয়েছিল, কিন্তু ওদেরকে পাঠানোর পর আস্তে আস্তে কক্সবাজারের জীববৈচিত্র্য ধ্বংস হয়ে যাচ্ছে, কারণ তারা প্রত্যেকটা দিন গাছ কাটছে ব্যবহার করার জন্য, আবার হাতিদের থাকার জায়গাও আস্তে আস্তে কমে যাচ্ছে। এজন্য আমাদের দরকার কক্সবাজারের জীববৈচিত্র্য রক্ষা করা।
কি হচ্ছে সুন্দরবনে? বাঘ ও ডলফিন বিলুপ্ত হয়ে যাচ্ছে এবং মাটি নষ্ট হওয়ার কারণে গাছপালা মরে যাচ্ছে ও খাদ্যচক্র নষ্ট হয়ে যাচ্ছে। কিন্তু এসব কেন হচ্ছে? এসব হচ্ছে শিল্প কারখানার জন্য। তোমরা কি জানো সুন্দরবনের 10 কিলোমিটারের মধ্যে 190টি শিল্প কারখানা রয়েছে? এসব শিল্প কারখানার জন্য সুন্দরী গাছও বিলুপ্ত হয়ে যাচ্ছে। আমাদের সবার দায়িত্ব সুন্দরবনকে রক্ষা করা।
আমি তথ্য প্রতিবেদন পড়ে পেয়েছি যে শিল্প কারখানাগুলো কিভাবে সুন্দরবনকে ক্ষতি করছে। তো তাদের শিল্প বর্জ্যের জন্য সুন্দরবনের সুন্দরী গাছের বংশবিস্তার 70% কমে গিয়েছে ও খাদ্য চক্র নষ্ট হয়ে যাচ্ছে। তো তাতে কি আমাদের ভবিষ্যৎ প্রজন্ম সুন্দরবন দেখতে পারবে? তো এটা বাঁচাতে হলে আমাদের জীববৈচিত্র্য বাঁচানো লাগবে। আমাদের সরকারের করা উচিত যে শিল্প কারখানার ছাড়পত্র নেওয়া বন্ধ করবে।
আমি এই পোস্টারটা বানিয়েছি কারণ আমি সুন্দরবনের প্রাকৃতিক বিষয়ে একটি প্রতিবেদন পড়েছি। ওইখানে লেখা ছিল বাঘের বিস্তার ঘটানোর জায়গা হচ্ছে না কারণ শিল্প কারখানাগুলো তাদের বর্জ্য ফেলাচ্ছে, এবং ডলফিনও কমে যাচ্ছে কারণ নদীতে বর্জ্য ফেলানোর কারণে নদী দূষণ হয়ে যাচ্ছে, এবং সুন্দরী গাছগুলো আর বিস্তার ঘটাতে পারছে না। তো চলুন আমরা সবাই মিলে সুন্দরবনকে বাঁচাই।
আমি পোস্টারে লিখেছি বাঘকে রক্ষা করব, কিন্তু বাঘকে কেন আমরা রক্ষা করব? হ্যাঁ, এটা সবার মাথায় ঘুরে কেন বাঘ এবং অন্য পশু পাখিদের রক্ষা করতে হবে। সুন্দরবনের শিল্প কারখানার কারণে সব পশু পাখি আস্তে আস্তে বিলুপ্ত হচ্ছে এবং তাদের উপর একটি খারাপ প্রভাব পড়ছে। পানি দূষিত হচ্ছে এবং ডলফিনের উপরও খারাপ প্রভাব হচ্ছে। তারা আস্তে আস্তে বিলুপ্ত হয়ে যাচ্ছে, গাছের সংখ্যা কমে যাচ্ছে, বাঘের সংখ্যা কমে যাচ্ছে, পাখিরাও আমাদের দেশ থেকে ছেড়ে চলে যাচ্ছে। সবই আমাদের দেশে খারাপ হয়ে যাচ্ছে, গাছ মারা যাচ্ছে। কিন্তু তোমাদের মনে হয় আমাদের দায়িত্ব নেওয়া উচিত? হ্যাঁ, আমাদের দায়িত্ব নেওয়া উচিত এবং আমরা বাঘকে রক্ষা করব।
সবাই জানি যে বাংলাদেশের দক্ষিণ পশ্চিম দিকে আমাদের একমাত্র ম্যানগ্রোভ বন আছে। কিন্তু আপনাদের কি মনে হয় যে এই বনের সব প্রাণী শান্তিতে থাকতে পারছে? কারণ আশেপাশে অনেক শিল্প কারখানা তৈরি হয়েছে। এই শিল্প কারখানার শিল্প বর্জ্যের কারণে সুন্দরী গাছের বংশ বিস্তার খুবই কমে যাচ্ছে। সঙ্গে রয়্যাল বেঙ্গল টাইগারেরও বিচরণ কমে যাচ্ছে। সাথে এরা যে পানি দূষণ করছে তার কারণে ডলফিনের সংখ্যাও খুবই কমে যাচ্ছে। আর এইসব সুন্দরবনের খাদ্যচক্রকে নষ্ট করে দিচ্ছে। আরেকটা জিনিস হচ্ছে এরা যে বায়ু দূষণ করছে তার কারণে প্রাণীদের এবং মানুষেরও ক্ষতি হচ্ছে। চলে আমরা সবাই মিলে সুন্দরবনকে হুমকির মুখ থেকে রক্ষা করি।
আমার পোস্টের টপিক হলো রোহিঙ্গার ক্যাম্প কক্সবাজার পরিবেশকে নষ্ট করছে। এটার মধ্যে ফল করে এই ক্যাম্পটি বন ধ্বংস করছে ও যে পাখি এখানে আর করতে পারছে না বিশ্রাম করার জন্য ও তাদের পথটা পরিবর্তন করতে হচ্ছে। তো আমরা কি করব? চলো সবাই মিলে আমরা এই জায়গাটাকে বাঁচাই, তো পরিচয় পাখি আবার করতে পারে এখানে বিশ্রাম করার জন্য।
আমি এই পোস্টারটি বানিয়েছি মানুষকে সতর্ক করতে যে আমাদের সুন্দরবনের ডলফিনদেরকে বাঁচাতে হবে এবং আস্তে আস্তে শিল্প কারখানা তৈরিও কমে দেখা যাবে। সুন্দরবনের আশেপাশে শিল্প কারখানা অনেক তৈরি হচ্ছে, তার জন্য আমাদের জীববৈচিত্র্য নষ্ট হয়ে যাচ্ছে। তাই জন্য আমাদেরকে সবাইকে এগিয়ে আসতে হবে, সুন্দরবনের জীববৈচিত্র্য বাঁচাতে পারি।
আমরা আমাদের অনুসন্ধানের সারিতে জীববৈচিত্র্য নষ্ট হওয়ার কারণ, তার প্রভাব এবং বিভিন্ন সংগঠন জীববৈচিত্র্য রক্ষা করার জন্য কি করছে তাই গবেষণা করেছি। আমরা আমাদের এই জ্ঞানের ভিত্তিতে দুটো বাংলায় কার্টুন স্ক্রিপ্ট তৈরি করেছি। আমরা এই কার্টুন স্ক্রিপ্টটা তৈরি করেছি দেখাতে যে শিল্প কারখানা কিভাবে পরিবেশ দূষণ করছে এবং তাদের মালিকদের এটা থামাতে কি করা উচিত। তো এখানে দেখা যাচ্ছে যে শিল্প কারখানাটি পানি দূষণ করছে এবং বায়ু দূষণ করছে। তা দেখে সরকারের লোক এসে তাদের শিল্প কারখানাটা বন্ধ করতে বলল। তারা বুঝতে পারলো যে তাদের পানি শোধনাগার ব্যবহার করতে হবে এবং নবায়নযোগ্য শক্তি ব্যবহার করতে হবে। এইসব তৈরি করার পর তারা সরকারের কাছে আবার একটি আবেদন লিখলো এবং তা সরকার গ্রহণ করলো। তাই আমরা চাই পরিবেশ বান্ধব কারখানা, দিও না কোনো বাহানা। এই কার্টুন স্ক্রিপ্টটা আমি, শাশ্বত, ফাতিম এবং ইফরাত তৈরি করেছি। ধন্যবাদ।
আমাদের কার্টুন স্ট্রিপের নাম মোস্তাফিজের শিক্ষা। এটা আমি, ইনায়া, আরিন, আবিয়ানা এবং জেহনা বানিয়েছি। এটির মধ্যে একটি ছেলে নাম মোস্তাফিজ, তার জন্মদিনে একটি মাছ দেওয়া হয়েছিল উপহার হিসাবে, কিন্তু সে তাকে ঠিকভাবে রাখেনি, এজন্য মাছটি মারা গেল। তার জন্য তার মা বাবা তাকে তার দাদির বাসায় পাঠালো। সেটার কয়েকদিন পর সে দেখলো একটি কুকুর রাস্তার মধ্যে পড়ে আছে, পা কাটা আর অসুস্থ। সে তার বোনের কাছে পাঠালো, আর হলো তারা দুজন একটা ট্যাক্সি নিয়ে তারা ডাক্তার কাছে গেল। সেটা 10 বছর পর তারা একটি পেট স্টোর খুলল, কারণ তারা বুঝলো যে জীববৈচিত্র্য ছাড়া আমরা মানুষরা বাঁচতে পারবো না।
For our first ever integrated task, we have done poem writing. We have written rhyming, diamante, and I wish poems on our chosen biodiversity related topics. Well then, let's see some of our friends, Irad, Abdullah, and Arin recite some of their poems.
So hello and a very well welcome to my poem recitation. My poem was on our Irish poem. My poem was related to biodiversity conservation. I hope you will enjoy my poem recitation. I wish all the hunters would stop hunting animals. I wish people would not litter in environment. I wish everyone would start to recycle. I wish there was no climate change. I wish there was no invasive species. I wish plastics will disappear. I wish there was no pollution. I wish people would use more renewable energy than non-renewable energy. I wish people would be more responsible towards conserving or saving biodiversity. So that was my poem on conservation of biodiversity. I hope you all enjoyed it.
My rhyming poem is on the topic biodiversity. Nature is a part of biodiversity, helps us conserve the sustainability. It causes no harm, but gives us the lucky charm. Nature feels like home, like the forest where we roam. Feel the importance of responsibility, opening the doors of possibility. Growing awareness among the company, living our lives full of harmony.
This is my poem on species. I used the format Diamond to Poem to write it. Species oblivious, aquatic. Fascinating, amusing, exploring. Arboreal, captive, juvenile, native. Interesting, amazing, exploring. Energetic, captive, breed.
Later on, after coming back from the field trip, we did raft work, where our task was to write to an organization about what we saw on the field trip in any different format. Raft stands for role, audience, format, and topic. It's a common way for us students to present our knowledge formally and properly. The formats we chose for the raft work were formal letter, editorial letter, story writing, and analytical writing.
And to conclude the information we have learned, we have done a summative task, and we had two options, which were brochures where we can write the information we have learned, and a public speech where we can actually explain our words in our own words about the effects as well as causes of biodiversity loss. We have also demonstrated the profile reflective and skilled thinking. This conclusion had taken place as it will be very helpful when we reflect on the information we had gathered.
We took an action at the end of the exhibition because it's important for us to reflect our learnings and apply them to our real life. Action taking is important as it gives us a new opportunity for self-accountability. It is our duty to reflect back and do something better for the world. We have focused on participation, social entrepreneurship, lifestyle choices for the action.
You may be wondering that we might have taken the same old action we used to take earlier, such as not polluting or just making posters to aware people about biodiversity loss. But that's not it. We showed our participation through a bake sale and sold food items. Students from grade 3, 4 and 5.
Hello and good morning. We have entered your class as we want to share you about our exhibition work. So we have planned on taking a bake sale, and we'll be selling food as well as other fun stuff will be taking place at Great Fine Day. Please visit us tomorrow at break time, and if you are interested in the games and stuff, please go visit again. Cardi.
So we talked about participation, but what about other actions that we took? We showed our lifestyle choices through buying plants and making a garden in our home with the money that we got from bake sale to show our accountability on conservation of biodiversity, and it's our responsibility to take care of our garden that we planted.
We supported an organization named Green Savers by donating money that we got from bake sale. Through these actions, we showed our social entrepreneurship action. As we cannot fully conserve the biodiversity and deforestation around us, we can at least try to change it by planting trees on our own. So we individually made a small garden with few plants and decided to take care of that garden, as it is our responsibility as an IB learner after learning about biodiversity and its loss and applying it to our real life by taking actions.
Over this entire exhibition process, we have done many assessments. After almost all of our formatives, research works, presentations, and our summative, we have done pair, self, and group checking, where we check each other's and our own work. For our first line of inquiry, we have done a group work where we present our work through either a project making, talk show, and chart presentation. After the presentation of one subgroup, the other groups mark them based on our self-made criterias. For our second line of inquiry, we have made individual digital presentations on the impacts and causes of biodiversity loss and marked ourselves through a self-assessment. For our third line of inquiry, we have done presentations in groups of 3 through the options puppet show, autobiography, and role play. Lastly, for our going further, we have separated into groups of 3, again, pairs and individuals, and marked each other's experience.
Through the KWL log, we were able to show what we knew about biodiversity before we started, next, the questions we had about it, and lastly, what we learned about biodiversity at the end. Through it, we showed our learning from the beginning to the end of the exhibition.
Soil taxonomy is a way we observe our learning outcomes. We use it to see the development of our knowledge throughout the unit. There are 5 levels of soil taxonomy, with pre-structural being the lowest knowledge level, then unistructural, multistructural, and then relational and extended abstract, which is the highest level of knowledge. Throughout the exhibition, after each stage and certain tasks, we wrote where we are and why we are there. After the exhibition, we can see the development of our knowledge throughout the unit.
Throughout the exhibition process, we have done reflections to see how much we have developed each day, what we did, our strengths, weakness, problems, and more. But why is it important? Each week, we do reflection to think, act, and reflect on what we have done. This has helped us to see how much we have developed along with the problems we have faced and how we solved it throughout the exhibition till now. During the working process, we have made a planner at a glance beforehand so we could do our work within time, and we had written what we will do on which day in the planner, making us also achieve our time management skills. Not only that, but we have also made weekly planners. So we know what we are right on track and following the planners, also for us to not miss anything and do the work within time.
In this whole unit, I've learned many things. I've gained extensive knowledge in this unit. It was an overwhelming experience for me and all the others. In this exhibition, we have gained extensive knowledge which we applied with extensive creativity. We have become holistic learners, but this experience would never be a learning for me if my mentors, my friends, and everyone who helped us in the exhibition journey would not be there. Without them, this overwhelming experience or this extensive knowledge would not be gained. This exhibition helped us a lot. This is our assets and cells which will make the Crowdy Bunch doctors and other frontline professions. So let's end this extraordinary, overwhelming PIP journey to a conclusion by thanking once again the people who work behind the scenes, the support staff, administration, all my teachers, heads, coordinators, principal, the chairman, and lots of other people. I thank you all.